Well, it's Friday, which is not usually writing day, but I was up at 1 a.m. this morning being interviewed by Dominic D'Souza of Legend Fiction, so I took today off work so I could sleep in. I've come into town to do a couple of things. I'm going to go and deposit some of my book sale money from the author market into my business account for my writing, grab some lunch, and then I thought I might head into the Launceston Library and do a bit of writing work in there, because, writers, libraries, they kind of go together. I've never done it before, and I thought I've always wanted to. And later in this vlog, I start designing my own solar system. Fun thing about Launceston, we have our own Stargate.
I don't know if I can find my way out. I'm stuck in a prison of doubt. In this torsion, and everything is growing up tight. There's no room to breathe.
So, working at the library wasn't quite the way I imagined it. There were people sleeping on the couches, snoring, and then there was this really strong kind of smell of cigarette smoke. I have a feeling that maybe some of the homeless people in Launceston are using the library as a place to find some comfort and safety during the day, which I can understand. But I was working without my mouse, with a small screen, and there are reference books at home that I wanted to look at. I did check if they were at the library, because I was in the library. In the end, I figured I'd just be more efficient and more comfortable working at home. Although I did find there was another section over the other side that seemed to be, there were a lot more desks for a start, and it seemed like the people there were in more serious study, so I don't know, it was an interesting experience. I can say I've done it now. Well, now it is Saturday. So yesterday's trip to the library may not have been quite the romantic, kind of bookish fantasy that I was hoping it would be, but it was still kind of a fun thing to do. But I'm back home now. I spent a little bit more time once I got home just looking at some world building stuff, which I said was going to be the next step for the Swiss Family Robinson. Specifically starting at the space level, so looking at the star, the solar system, and ultimately the planet, and moving down to some of the kind of life forms that we'll find on the planet. So let's just have a look at what I've kind of put together so far. So this is a star called Tell, which is named after William Tell, who is like a folk hero, a Swiss folk hero. So I thought it would be logical that the family would name the star after him. So this is a K-type star, which is an orange dwarf. I've been having some fun doing some research and learning all about stars. And yeah, it's been good. It's fascinating stuff. So our sun is a G-type star. And so the Ks are kind of next to them. And while we are life and we are in orbit of a G-type star, a lot of people on the internet are saying that if you want to look for life, the K-types are the ones to look at. So it seems a logical option, and I didn't want to choose the same type of star as our sun. I wanted to choose one that was kind of similar enough that it was likely to have life, but not the same, because where's the fun in being exactly the same? If this planet is going to be completely the same as Earth, why set a story on another planet to begin with? So yeah, this is Tell, a K-type orange dwarf. So I found this YouTuber called Artifexian, and he specializes in world building, particularly this kind of stars and planets and all of that. He's actually retired now, so he's not adding new content, but there is a wealth of stuff on his channel, and I've not even begun to scratch the surface of it all. But in looking at some of his videos, I've discovered something very cool, and that is this right here, the Worldsmith. So this is a spreadsheet that he's created, and he's put a lot of the science and the maths into this to create believable worlds. So if we look at this first sheet here, the star. So this is kind of where you can design your own star, and it's got all the calculations to figure out the radius and the luminosity and the temperature and where this is an important one. Where is the habitable zone within this star system? This is the kind of stuff that I want to get this right. I want to create a believable star system and planet, but I don't have the knowledge to just do that. But yeah, he's put all that cleverness into this sheet, and you can grab this for free, which is really cool. So if you are a writer and you do write science fiction, well worth grabbing. Alright, so I've got a handle on this. So if we hover over here, we get some more information here. So this is really cool. So G-type stars, monostate 4 to 1. And it says up here that our sun is 1 M-Sol. So you want a star the size of our sun, you just put 1, which is what they've got over here in the default as the initial thing. So I want a K-type star, so I'll need something from 0.84 down to 0.47. I think I'm going to go with 0.6, which makes it a little bigger than half the size of our sun, which sounds kind of fun. And you can see that's now made this a K-type star. It's a K6.3. The 6.3 kind of indicates, how big within the K range it is. And this V, I'm told, means it is a main sequence star, which is what most of the stars in the galaxy apparently are. Alright, so we've got a maximum age for this type of star of 46. I am going to go on the younger side of that. So if we go 3, so you'll stay here, the star is too young for Earth-like life. So I'm going to say maybe 3.5. Yes. 4, yes. I think let's just put 3.5 in there. Okay. So, we have ourselves a star. So I have a radius of 0.665 R-sols, luminosity of 0.130 L-sol, density of 2.045 D-sol. None of that means a great deal to me, but it is comforting to know that this is kind of all believable. So this is interesting. I've got a temperature of 4,251 kelvins, and then the star color, so it's a nice orange, which makes sense because this is supposed to be an orange dwarf. So this planet is this star can definitely support Earth-like life. And we have our habitable zone at 0.343 AU to 0.494 AU. And I know that AU is an astronomical unit, which is the distance from Earth to our sun, which is a very big number when you convert it to kilometers. So yeah, that's really cool. I have a star. I'm happy. Alright, so I've come back into Chronicler and I've put some of these details into the info box here for Tell. I'm really quite thrilled about this. So the other thing I've done here in Chronicler is I have created a folder for Haven and I've created subfolders for Flora and Fauna, which I'll be filling in later. But I'm not quite ready for that yet. Because, if you come back over here, there's still more to figure out. Like, I haven't even got to the planet yet. But you can see this guy's got all these different tabs. So you can actually design a galaxy. So that's pretty cool. So this is where you design your planetary system. So how many planets have you got and where are they? This is where you can actually create your own planet. You can give your planet some moons if you want. All sorts of interesting stuff here. But what I probably need to do next is look at this planetary system and then the planet. But I want to watch his videos where he explains these sheets first. So I'm going to go do that, and maybe at the end I'll show you what I've come up with. Okay, so that was interesting. So I entered my star's mass from the previous sheet, and that calculated some stuff. So it's given me a frost line, which is kind of the border between your rocky planets and your gas giants. So that's interesting. So the only other thing it wanted me to enter was this spacing factor. Now 0.3 is the default. And that's really interesting because the only habitable planet in this system is actually the very first planet. Now, I'd been thinking in the back of my head, I was going to make Haven the second planet in the system because, you know, in our system, Earth is the third, and I wanted it to be different. But I thought the first planet is kind of a bit weird and unrealistic, so let's make it the second. Turns out, no. The first planet is the realistic option here. And then I tried playing around with this. This is basically how spaced apart the planets are. So if we put this to like 0.1, 0.05, then we get to a point where the second planet is also habitable. But you look how close these are together. These are basically just 0.05 AU apart. Now, I don't know what effect that would have on a planet. I imagine some very interesting things, but I'm not knowledgeable enough to know what they are. I think I'm going to stick with the default 0.3, and I think Haven is going to be the first planet in this system. The other thing it calculates is this debris disk, which is kind of like the Kuiper belt, which is the outer asteroid belt around beyond the furthest planet, and that's where you tend to find your dwarf planets. So, if we switch over to here, you can see that I have actually populated my solar system with some planets. Now, each of those orbits that it comes up with, all these here, you don't have to have a planet in every one of those. You choose which ones have planets. So, I have said the first planet in the system is Haven, which is located at 0.4 AU. So it's about half the distance and then a little bit closer to the star than our Earth is to our star. And it's a habitable rocky planet. The second planet in the system is at 1 AU, so that's the exact same distance as Earth to the Sun, and that's an uninhabitable rocky planet. Then we have an asteroid field at 1.6 AU, and then we have our first gas giant, which is the biggest gas giant in the system, at 2.8 AU, and then there's two other gas giants, and then I've got my debris disk out there at 13.1 to 15.87 AU. Now, I haven't bothered to define whether there are any dwarf planets in there and what they are. I mean, my character's not going to be able to see that distance. It really has no bearing on the story whatsoever, whether there are dwarf planets there. And in fairness, you know, these gas giants probably don't have much bearing either, but it's just fun to create your own solar system. And it's nice to know that this stuff is defined. If there ever becomes a story reason for defining some dwarf planets, I'll do that. But that is now my solar system. I'm very proud of it and very excited about it. So the next thing to do would be to define the planet. Now, I'm not sure whether I will get to that today. I do have some jobs I have to do first. This is where, you know, usually people would insert like a montage of housework kind of stuff just to break up the vlog. But I don't think you really want to see me dealing with dirty cat litter, so I might forgo filming that, and I'll just get on with it. Well, I didn't get any more done today. I had to go pick up my daughter from the airport, and then I've been doing some editing, and I've realised that this vlog is 15 minutes, which is more than enough, so I think we'll end it here. In the next vlog, we will look at the creation of our planet, haven where most of the story is going to take place. I can't wait. It's going to be really cool and exciting, and I'll see you then.